Everyone get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to another viewer spotlight. This is courtesy of HymesX. I think we'll just stick to Hymes for simplicity's sake. He's in his derp Sherman, it's Pearl River, and he's not top tier. The team composition is worth noting on this one. This team has got a lot of mediums. The enemy team's got a fair few as well, but they've got a few more tank destroyers. And oftentimes you can glance at the team list and predict how people are going to spread out based what tank they're in, because one of the first stages of starting to get good at World of Tanks is realizing what tanks work best in what parts of different maps. But the next step after that is realizing that that's not a hard and fast thing. You have to pay attention to what the rest of the team is doing. Sometimes you have to go to places where you wouldn't normally want to go in tanks, that you wouldn't want to go there in, because there aren't enough tanks going in that particular direction, or the team composition. You know, you'll have seen it yourself. A team with lots of mediums, which in this case Hymes is, his side has got lots of mediums. They're all going around the outside, only 4 tanks plus artillery going to the valley. But more noticeable is teams where you get lots of tank destroyers, and they all think, okay, I'm a tank destroyer, and everyone just kind of sits at the back and does nothing. And yeah, so like I said, the mediums are actually a pair of fast tank destroyers. They're all going around the outside and not really meeting much resistance so far. We've spotted, you know, that's some stuff in the valley. There's probably, we already know there's that's at least what, 5 tanks, 6 tanks in the valley. So the defenders in the valley are, they have actually been forced into a defensive position, and they are outnumbered. So that's bad. Hymes is maybe noticing this because he's not really following the rest of that medium push around, who haven't met any resistance so far. There's that Excelsior in the middle, and that's it. Now, maybe Hymes was distracted by the Excelsior. Maybe he was noticing the minimap, and we can see he's actually turning. I think actually, yes, he was noticing the minimap. Normally in the medium you want to be pushing around there, but if there's no resistance, which there isn't so far, that tells you, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the valley, and the valley defenders have managed to take out 1 or 2 things, but we're down to 2 heavies now. They're just being overwhelmed by weight of numbers. Hymes is, I think, still maybe looking for shots on the Excelsior at this point, but he's also put himself in a position where he can now get back to defend the cap, which is looking increasingly likely. There's also the T-34 and the Type T-34. They will prove important later on, but they aren't really paying attention to the cap. I think they're just fixated by the Excelsior. And I will say this, Hymes wasn't especially, no one was especially, you know, pinging the map and bringing attention to, you know, not that people always pay attention. In fact, sometimes people don't pay any attention at all, but it would have been worth maybe trying to bring a few tanks back towards the cap. But those tier 5 mediums, the T-34 and the Type T-34, clearly weren't paying as much attention to the minimap as Hymes was. So he's got himself into a position. He knows that T-34 85 is low health, which is nice, so line up the shot carefully, and that's 1 less tank to worry about. KV-1S is there, the Panzer IV is there as well, and that's kind of bad news. We're even on numbers so far, but that KV-1S is nasty, and Hymes has got the derp gun, which, okay, there's an increased chance of being able to track somebody with that thing, but he's only got 400 hit points. Average roll on a KV-1S, 390, so it's entirely possible a KV-1S could one-shot him, which, you know, KV-1S is so balanced, right? I mean, it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. The alpha is not balanced. The other stats on it are kind of balanced to the alpha, but yeah. So Hymes is, rather than pop out in the same place again, he's going to look down here and see what he can see. And unfortunately, that KV-1S is coming for him. And oh, yeah, that was lucky. That was a very low roll from the KV-1S. Now, tries to track him, doesn't do it. Panzer IV is also toting a derp gun, so Hymes at this point kind of wants to get out the way. Yeah. Down to 50 health. That was just that he wasn't one-shotted, you know, 390 alpha. That was so lucky. Ah, that blind shot. That was some good guessing. That was a nicely led shot there. And if you use the derp gun enough, you get to be able to predict the slow shell speeds fairly accurately. But still, when someone disappears off the radar like that, to be able to blind derp them. So on the other side of the map, we can see there it's actually gone a bit pear-shaped. There was an AT2. There's also an E2. Those guys are spread out, which is not good. And yeah, there's the KV-1S. Hymes was ready though. Falls down. I think the Kehoe is actually shooting him now, so he's going to go for the flank. But yeah, the other flank is a bit pear-shaped. There's still an Excelsior in the middle. There's still a Burt, and they all split up basically, and it really didn't do so good. The only other cluster of tanks that's left are those two. The T-34 and the Type T-34, and also the Kehoe, who've really just been sat there not doing much up until now, but the fact that they've still got their health is going to prove useful. It's not that they've... Sometimes it's like that, it's you'll get players that, by virtue of the fact that they are still alive with full health at the end of a match, even if they aren't the best players and they haven't been playing very smart, can still swing a match, and that's just the nature of World of Tanks. It can be very frustrating when you're on a team and there's been at the back of the map a whole time a tier, a high tier heavy of the enemy team that's just been camping, still has full hit points, has maybe done no damage up till that point, but their very presence means that they're able to clear up, low health guys on your own team and sometimes even turn a match. So Hymes is being cautious. That KV-1S is still down there. The 82 is down there. 82 could, even if it's got the 6-pounder, that's a one-shot. Excelsior's still there. The enemy E2 is very much still alive and kicking. So he's looking for shots now. He's provided a little bit of cover for himself, soft cover, with the... there we go, a hit with that tree. But I think, he's not objectively done much damage, and he's not objectively... hurt the enemy team very much, but the fact that he was there to slow up, first off to pick off that T-34-85, and then to spot the KV-1S and do a bit of damage to the KV-1S, and now he's actually about to finish off the KV-1S, which is very nice. That's actually, again, that's proved critical, but it's not the... Sometimes it's not about doing the damage, it's getting critical kills and being in the right place and slowing up people. So sometimes contribution to a team isn't necessarily reflected in the score. Now, could Hymes have done a bit more for this match? I don't know, that's arguable, but I think what he did do when he realised how the situation was unfolding was actually the smarter way to play it. And given that he is a, tier 5 medium and not a very well armoured tier 5 medium with the derp gun, which is not especially fast firing, I don't think I would have done really any better myself in this situation. So we've got an enemy E2 and the Burt to hunt down, and I will just speed it up at this point because it's there's the E2 in the middle, and those two tier 5s plus the Kehoe are actually enough to take him down. And I'm not quite sure how many hit points he's got left, because he's not... I can hit the alt button, but that says 126. Oh, there we go, 108. So there we go. He is low health. He's they've basically rushed him, which is the smart thing to do in this situation. And it's the Burt left to track down. So speed up a little bit again. Now where is that Burt? Over the bridge. He could be running halfway around the map, but it's hard to tell with the Burt. They can just be all over the place. One of the reasons I like the Burt, playing it, because you can just be all over the place. Although if you're running around the map and just hoping to run out the clock, well, okay, in this case you could just be hoping that they would try and cap. But now Hymes is actually deliberately avoiding the cap. He doesn't want any of that. He wants that kill. And it looks like these last two tier 5 mediums want the kill as well. And there's still the Kehoe running around. Let's not discount the Kehoe. So, where are you, Burt? Let's speed up. We know where he last was, but it's a Burt. It's unlikely to still be there. And there we go. Kehoe actually gets the kill. So, let's take a look at the actual scores. Now, it wasn't that much damage done. It wasn't that much XP earned. He was actually 4th on the XP list with 569, which, with premium 800, okay, that's not too terrible. Made a bit of money. Didn't particularly, he only had 2 heat shells. He wasn't exactly spamming the premium ammo there. And I think it's easy to say that okay, he didn't do much damage, maybe he didn't contribute much to the team that way, but if he hadn't been there to stop that, to take out that T-34-85 and then spot the KV-1S, tie that guy up, also do a bit of damage to him, and eventually knock him out, that did swing the game in his team's favour. So sometimes contributions aren't really reflected in the score screen, but they are vital contributions nonetheless. So you might say, okay, those were cheap kills, but those were also vital kills. So sometimes a kill is as important as doing damage. Although on the whole in World of Tanks, doing damage is preferable to kills, but sometimes taking an enemy tank out of the fray is more valuable than actually doing lots of damage to the enemy team. It's kind of situational. It does vary. There's, as with so many things in World of Tanks, there's no one hard and fast rule as to what the correct thing is. So, if you enjoyed this replay, you can hit the like button, you can leave a comment below, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.